Now that's the first phase. Now you look at the second phase here. You're going to get a problem list from the database. You say, well, we've always made a list of impressions. Did we ever do that any better than the database? Well, in the first place, we used the word impression. Now that was a terrible thing to do in the first place. If you use the word impression, or what you think, you then have to have the person who wrote the chart with you when you interpret the chart, because what he's thinking is part of it. I'm not interested in what the impression is. I'm interested in what do you know to be the problem. And no ambiguity about it. Well, occasionally people say, well, I don't know. Geez, Larry, everything's black and white to you. You just put a number on things. And so, I don't know whether it's rheumatic heart disease or a cardiomyopathy. I said, well, what do you know? What do you know? Do you know a physiological finding? For instance, if you don't know, if he doesn't know the diagnosis, do you know a physiological finding? Well, this is pretty... Well, here, I'll do it this way. How do you move this crazy thing? Do you know the diagnosis? No. Well, do you know a physiological finding? Like heart failure. Well, yeah, I know she's in heart failure. Well, then that's your problem, doctor. That's your problem. If you knew it was rheumatic heart disease, put it down. That's your problem with failure. We might say, well, if you want me to be absolutely honest, I don't even know that. Well, what do you know for sure? Is it a symptom or a physical finding? Well, yes, I'm very sure she's short of breath. I can guarantee you, Dr. Weed, if I take you in the room there, you may not agree it's rheumatic heart disease, and you may not think it's heart failure, but you'll have to admit she's very short of breath. And I don't know whether it's chronic obstructive lung disease or cardiac failure. She may have a piece of corn caught in her trachea, for all I know. Well, that's the problem. Or he might say, you know, I pick up his chart. He's got question mark organic heart disease like that, you know. You see that. I saw that in one of those clinic charts. I say, well, what's the problem? Well, he doesn't remember. Oh, gee, we had a lot of admissions last night, and he fumbled through his... You say, oh, yeah, she's that one with a funny cardiogram. I say, doctor, that was pretty risky. You never want to lose sight of the problem. If you hadn't been here, and I had to use that chart, I could spend an hour trying to find out what the problem was. And I'd have to go through your laundry basket to find that EKG. That's very risky. He says, well, geez. He said, this was a new intern. He says, it seems logical to me, but you don't honestly want me to put down problem number 4, funny-looking EKG. Now, do you? And I haven't yet a course in cardiology, and I just don't know everything. I just don't think we can be expected to know everything. And I said, yes, doctor, if that's the level at which you understand the problem, put it down that way. If that's the level at which your care is being given, there's nothing to be ashamed of about that. There's no reason why you should know all about cardiology. An ophthalmologist doesn't. And you don't know all about ophthalmology either. The neurologist doesn't know all about endocrine disease. All you have to do is be honest. Then I'll say to you, what's funny about it? And the dumbest person, instead of putting down funny cardiogram, will take 1 second and say, what's funny about it? And he'll look on the reading, and he'll ask this fellow, well, those are U waves. They shouldn't be there. So the problem is number 3, U waves and cardiogram. Now, you can call up anybody in seconds, in the middle of the night, say, would you see this patient? What's the problem? You read off the problem, say, number 3 is U waves. He'll say, get a potassium, do this, and I'll be in. He's halfway there before he ever even, after 30 seconds, he's with you. But if you say, going out the door, hey, I got a lady I think has a little heart disease. Would you see her? I want to see if I can operate tomorrow. You can go upstairs and pick up this record. You can be lumbering through it for half an hour and still not sure what's bothering you. So what you usually do is throw it on the desk and say to the nurse, show me the patient. And you wander down and look her over, and you're rather experienced, and you sort of think she'll live through that operation. And you hold your breath and clear her, and that's the end of it usually. No, it should be much more precise than that. So we haven't defined problems. We put down impressions. Now, what else about the problem list? It wasn't kept up to date. I stumble over the facts of arthritis, LE preps, hip x-rays, PVIs, CVAs. This lady has at least 10 problems. Now, what happens when I stumble over them this way? I'm scared to death there's some that I'm missing. So then, when I find a couple important ones that were terribly important, then I panic and I go back and now I've got to read every word. I wonder what, you know, there's something, because they're scattered and they're bots in the middle of pages and at the end of lab sheets. No, whenever a new problem appears, it should go on that problem list, and that problem list should sit on the front of the record, and it should be absolutely up to date. And we have to be ruthless with a doctor, not who does the right or wrong thing for heart failure. Only God knows what's right or wrong for some of these problems. It's very confusing. But you have to be ruthless with him if he does not keep the problem list up to date so that anyone in seconds can be in context and make intelligent decisions.